Every now and again, we have a moment of clarity, right? What I like to call an epiphany. About 90 minutes into last night's Monday Night Raw show, I had one of those epiphanies. It dawned on me that after 90 minutes of the show, WWE and who they parade out there as larger-than-life superstars, as main eventers for Monday Night Raw, they were already seen and used. And those individuals, by the way, are Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. Both, you're telling me, are larger-than-life main eventers. Up there with the Hogans and the Warriors, the Undertakers and the Stone Colds. Now we get Rollins and Owens. One of them is in the midst of a heel turn that it looks like they're going to drag out instead of instantly doing the deed. And the other one seems to me like a Stone Cold Steve Austin knockoff. A bootleg. But I digress. Those are the big superstars on the Raw brand. You can't say Brock Lesnar, because if you go outside tonight and you look up at the moon and you go out every single night thereafter, whenever you see a blue moon, that is when you will see Brock Lesnar. Very far and few in between. So we have Rollins and Owens. Those are the two superstars that are supposed to grasp your attention. Those are the superstars that when you go and you pay your money to go to a live event, or you sit your ass down for a 3-hour Monday Night Raw, those are the two superstars that after everyone has come and gone, you're supposed to say, that's the one I can't wait for. Oh, when that music hits, we're gonna be electrified. But it's Rollins and Owens. But let's just say they're larger than life. Let's say they're main eventers and beyond. After not even half the show was over with, they were used and gone. So who are you looking forward to? And I put this out over on social media last night, and I said main eventers from 20 years ago. And I had a photo of Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and The Undertaker. And then right underneath I said main eventers of today. And I had Humberto, Rey Mysterio, and Ricochet. So playing the role of Steve Austin 20 years later is Humberto. Playing the role of The Rock is Rey Mysterio. And playing the role of The Undertaker is Ricochet. And those are our main eventers last night on Monday Night Raw. And it just was one of those epiphany moments for me. It was a moment of clarity where I'm sitting back and I'm watching this and I'm going, You know, because you know it's bad for years. You know that this company is in the shitter and in a downward spiral. Every now and again, it has a moment of hope. A moment of, see? This is what it could be. Let's gain some momentum off of this. But they never do. They never string together consistency. So most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, we are just left with the mediocrity, the bullshit. The realization that this company is going 160 miles an hour into a brick wall. And the brakes? Non-existent. There's only one outcome for this company. Smack dab into that brick wall. And what it's doing to its audience in the process, it's making us want to put our dome pieces into every cement wall that we come across. But it dawned on me in that moment of clarity last night where I was thinking, I knew it was bad, but this is one of those defining moments where Humberto and Ricochet, along with Rey Mysterio, who somehow is still kicking 20 years later, but obviously a shell of what he once was, but this is your main event for Monday Night Raw. And you could say, BC, that was just 1 week, but was it? That's all the superstars, I use that term loosely, that they have. Who are you going to put in next week in a six-man Rollins and Owens? Who are you going to put in there with them two? Are you going to put Rollins, Owens, and maybe No Way Jose? You know, it's one of those moments where I just said, wow, this is what happens when you do not build larger-than-life superstars. This is the outcome. This is where we are at. We're mid-carders. That's right. I'll say it, and I know I'll take heat for it. Ricochet's amazing. I agree. Humberto's really good. I agree. Rey Mysterio's still damn good. I agree. They're all, with the exception of Mysterio back in his heyday, who was one of the very few with that size and stature and that type of wrestling that could be in the main event. But nowadays, sorry Ray, that time is past. That United States Championship is where he should be. Mid-card, even putting over more talent. But Humberto and Ricochet, in the main event of 2019, they are and should be mid-carders. And this is being truthful with you. I know this is gonna hurt because every time we get one of these new flash in the pans or one of these new great talents, he's got amazing skill, we always want to anoint them with a championship. Buddy Murphy came up, he should be world champion someday. Ricochet comes up, he should be world champion someday. Mustafa Ali, he should be world champion someday. We just saw Mansoor. He had a couple of big victories on Crown Jewel in his homeland of Saudi Arabia. And I swear to you, if you went on social media, everybody was crowning him the next champion. I saw people writing down, it is a shame Mansoor, Mansipity Doodah is not and has not been a champion yet in WWE. These were the messages that I was reading. We want to anoint every single person that we like as a world champion. But the truth is, there is just and there should be mid-carders and there should be main eventers to every show, to every company. That is how all professional combat sports, and whether you call it sports entertainment or just sports, pro wrestling, entertainment, whatever you want to call it, it is under the combat sports genre, and everybody knows that you should have classes. That is why you started the Intercontinental Championship in the first place. It was a mid-card championship. That doesn't mean you're not going to reach great heights. And very few, as it should be, very few will actually go on to become heavyweight champions like Bret the Hitman Hart and Shawn Michaels did back in the day. But you didn't see every single Big Boss Man and Tito Santana going up for the World Championship. You didn't see Mr. Perfect and Rick the Model Martel going for the World Championship because everybody had their placement. And everybody, because of damn good storytelling, was always relevant. So nobody seemed like they just couldn't get it done on the big stage for the main championship, the heavyweight title. No, because everybody was constantly booked in good stories, everybody was relevant. But we all knew, more importantly, forget the audience, the superstars knew where they stood in the company. Nowadays, the lines are blurred. In fact, they did away with the lines. Nowadays, Humberto is about to be champion in about a year. World heavyweight. Kalisto will be a heavyweight champion. And I know there's going to be people out there in the community that are going, I like it. Kalisto paid his dues. And we're supposed to go back. The ones with a real fucking brain in our noggin, we're supposed to sit back and go, yep, this is realistic. Kalisto's the heavyweight champion. Makes sense to me. Rey Mysterio was back in the day in 2019. Why not Kalisto? Why not fucking Humberto? Why not every motherfucker that can do a 450 moonsault, hurricanrana, flippity doodah, somersault, flippy thingy? Everybody that can do one of those, say that 10 times fast, you get a world championship. Or at the very least, you get a main event. Somebody had to say it in this community, because for years we've went along with this whole fucking facade. Oh, these talents are great, and this is what wrestling has evolved into. Wrestling is not what it was back in the 80s with punches and kicks and chops. Now it's ping pong wrestling. Now it's fast paced. Now it's no more selling. Zero psychology. Nobody sells shit. You just bounce right up and you start chain wrestling onto the next flippity doodah. But somebody had to step up in this community and say, whoa, hold up. I like the selling. I like the psychology. I like having heavyweights and champions in that position, and main eventers in the main event that capture our attention. Humberto and Ricochet, and even Mysterio today is not doing the justice. That is the truth, and you fucking know it. And you can argue and disagree all you want, but the ratings back my statements up. The asses that are not in those seats at live events and on televised events and even pay-per-views back up my statements. It's not even a point of littler dudes just not doing it for me. It's the point of non-larger-than-life talent, non-larger-than-life superstars in our main events on a 3-hour show last night. That is what we had to look forward to. Humberto and Ricochet in a 6-man tag main event with Gallows and Anderson, which I've said from the very beginning. If you give them the rocket, I'm down with them. If you keep giving them 2 wins and making them lose 4 in a row, I'm not going to be down with them. Starrcade, 24 hours later, they had Gallows and Anderson losing to the Street Profits in 9 minutes. And then the next night, I'm supposed to believe that they're main event worthy. BC, it's only one Monday Night Raw. Is it? These are the larger-than-life superstars they're trying to push on us on Raw. These are the superstars that we have to look forward to at pay-per-views. You take away Humberto, Ricochet, and Mysterio, who do you have? You have Owens and Rollins. That's it. And then you start talking about the Eric Youngs, the No Way Jose's, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawk. I don't even fucking know. But I had that moment of realization when I thought about what I was viewing 20 years ago in the main event. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, and The Rock. And yeah, you had Triple H and Kurt Angle even. And now here I am after 3 hours of just whack job off the tracks television. I'm watching Humberto, Ricochet, and Mysterio taking on Gallows and Anderson and Styles. That was my main event of Monday Night Raw in 2019. Now, I wish I could say this is just once in a blue moon, like seeing Brock Lesnar, but no, we see these type of main events all too often. But now, the lack of star power since this new draft is really overwhelming now. Now it's right smack dab in your face. Now there's no more ignoring it. There's a huge issue. Especially on Monday Night Raw, when I have mid-carders. And again, I don't care who this pisses off. It's mid-carders in my main event. Mid-carders, or who we're spending our money on, and supposed to go, wow, can't wait till Humberto shows up in the main event. Can't wait till Ricochet shows up in my main event. BC, I like Ricochet. BC, I like Humberto. I get it. I like them too. When I show up to an event, I don't mind seeing them as the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You could put them in the 7th or 8th match. I'll watch them. Pretty cool. That's our main event. And you don't have an issue with it. If you don't have an issue with it, you are part of the problem in why the business is in the state that it's in. If you do have a problem with it, I hope we can all come together and create a solution. This is zero shade to Humberto and Ricochet and even Mysterio. Zero. They all have a place in the company. They're all damn good as talents. But you cannot tell me that everybody that walks through the door now is main event quality. You can't tell me that at any given day, any one of them can win the World Heavyweight Championship. It's bullshit. It's not believable. If it's believable to you, that's great. Kudos. Awesome. I wish I could be so simplistic. I wish I could lower my levels of reality and what I can believe in, but I can't. But I wish I could. The Easter Bunny would still be real to me. Santa Claus would be coming December 25th this year to drop me off presents. But I can't lower my standards and my believability rate. I can't do it. That's the bottom fucking line. And on top of that last night, they use Rollins and Owens in the way that they did. These are two simplistic points that they seem to fail in time and time again. Whenever it's something simplistic, leave it to WWE to absolutely fail at it. How could you botch this Rollins thing? It was simplistic. He goes out and says he's going to apologize, and he does the opposite. In fact, he doubles and even triples down. It's simplistic. It was sitting in their lap. Everybody was waiting for it, and everybody was on board with it. But now it looks like they want to string along this Rollins heel turn. It's going to take a little bit now. The seeds were already planted. There's no going back. He's already got that heel persona initiated. So why wait? Why drag this through TLC? It's not going to be a story that they're going to deliver correctly anyway, so you might as well have just had a mic drop moment last night. That's what we were all tuning in to see, and they failed at that too. And then they have Owens jump by AOP, and he gets dragged up the rampway, and they missed one big part of the story. They never went back on what happened to Owens. He got dragged up the rampway. Where are they taking him? Chuck E. Cheese's for his fucking late birthday party pizza? Are they taking him to Universal Studios to ride the Harry Potter ride on a loop? To the Jersey Shore to get the fucking arcade tickets. Rack them some bitches up, get all the stuffed animals and the ping pong fucking rackets that you could possibly imagine. Did they take them on a fun night out? Nobody knows what happened to Owens. They never even addressed it afterwards. Or showed zero concern of where Kevin Owens might be. Nobody fucking knows. And Kevin Owens, when the show ends, literally, he put this on Twitter when Raw went off the air. Kevin Owens had to tell everyone, he said, guys, I escaped. 3 words he put on social media. Guys, I escaped. He had to tell everyone. He had to ruin his own storyline because WWE didn't know where the fuck they were going with it. Guys, I escaped. Owens had to tell us himself on social media. They could have done so much cool shit with that. AOP brings him up the ramp and then they take him through the parking lot into that A-Team SUV that they showed up in. Threw him in there and they took off. That is how you start the beginnings to a damn good story. Instead, they drag him up and then creative's like, well, I don't know where to go from here. That was all I had, Teddy. Well, me too, Billy. What do we do now? I don't know. Let's go get some Starbucks. I think that's pretty creative. They beat up Owens and then they dragged him up the ramp. I tell you, Teddy, you're a fucking brilliant one. Oh, Billy, you're making me blush. You sure we shouldn't add any more? No, I have nothing more. I'm already smoking at my dome piece. Yeah, mine's starting to smoke too. My battery's low. Let's go. That was the extent of what creative could give them. We drag them up the rampway, they take them to the back, and we have nothing else. Enough with the bullshit. Let's get on with this. This is literally 5 pages long. I'll try to get through this as fast as I possibly can, guys. Literally, the first hour when it finished, I realized I had 3 pages of notes. That's usually not a good thing. When you're a reviewer, if you have that many notes, you want to think, hey, that means it's good, right? You're writing a lot. No, what it means is there's a lot of bullshit and nonsensical content that I now have to unnecessarily go over. That's what it usually means. When it's a good show, the notes are very short because then I know I can just speak. Me to camera, don't even have to look down because I am going to tell you everything that I remembered from it. I am going to tell you literally all of the great shit that happened through just my emotion and passion. But when I have 5 pages of notes, that's when you know it was nonsensical content and I have to now go back into my notes and think about what I actually did. Take notes on what I actually did remember, what actually stood out to me. Because I obviously don't remember it the next morning. Because it was nonsensical. 5 pages. And I do want to just say, by the way, Becky Lynch, everyone's like, wow, Becky wasn't on Raw again. This is the second Raw in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Becky's not been there. I hope she's okay. Guys, she wrestled the dark match. She actually defeated Kairi Sane. Becky's fine. They're trying to protect her because they know what the Amplified Man has been saying for months is actually true. That's what's happening. They realized, oh shit, it's true. The Becky Lynch whole momentum and everything that we were pushing her toward, it's dying really fast now. So let's keep her off. That's called protecting. So they did it with Charlotte Flair week after week and for months at times. Charlotte Flair was always protected. They're trying to do that now with Becky, trying to get some of that momentum back. She's fine. After Raw went off the air, she was in a dark match and defeated Kairi Sane. They just didn't want to show her to the live crowd. We don't want to overexpose Becky Lynch. So she's absolutely fine. All right, let's kick this show off, man. AOP shows up backstage, stepping out of some A-Team van, like from the 80s. Remember Mr. T? They show up in this freaking dark van or SUV type van, some shit. It was pretty fucking badass. Charlie Caruso is awaiting their arrival and asks about their attack on Owens from the week previous. Akam and Razor speak in a language that I'm not familiar with, and Charlie wasn't either. But when asked by Charlie to clarify in English, AOP just told Charlie she looked nice, and they walked off. They're right, Charlie does look nice. In 47 different languages, Charlie would look nice. She's got legs for days. Damn! Seth Rollins, now we're back into the arena at this point. Seth Rollins is actually kicking off Raw. He comes to the ring to deliver this hyped up apology that WWE has been pumping up for the last 2 days. Rollins says that he apologizes to not just the roster and to the fans, but more importantly to Kevin Owens. And he actually asks Owens to come down to ringside. Owens obliges, but Owens isn't buying what Rollins is selling. In fact, Owens tells Rollins that he smells bullshit, and he can tell that Rollins is lying because his lips are moving. So Owens is not buying any of this. AOP then hit the top of the ramp and starts speaking nothing that I can understand. But then in English, they lay down a challenge, them two versus Owens and Rollins. Owens says no because he knows how it will end, with all three of them beating down on him. So absolutely not. Rollins then says, fine, Kev, I tried, Kev. And he walks away straight through the AOP. The AOP part like the Red Seas, and there goes Seth Rollins. Then Owens says, AOP, fight me now because I know you're going to just jump me later anyway, so let's do this man to men. AOP decline, and they end up walking away, following suit with Seth Rollins. At this point, Owens says, anybody in the back better come down here and fight me. Because I believe they were in Nashville. Nashville wants to see a fight, and I got my tape on, my boots on, I'm ready to fight. Somebody better come down. So he did his best. He's usually impersonating Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he did his best Aleister Black last night. So then we cut to the backstage area, and we see Lashley and Lana backstage, and before we go to commercial, this is the last thing in our mind. Owens is calling somebody out to the ring, and it's Lashley before we go to commercial with Lana that we see. So we are left with the Starrcade debacle rematch from the night previous. That's our big teaser when we come back from commercial. We waited 20 minutes to see a rematch from Starrcade, Owens and Lashley. Yep, can't make that shit up. That was the first 20, no, that wasn't actually. It got worse, I'm sorry. We came back from commercial. Lana is at the top of the ramp. She's going back and forth on the mic with Kevin Owens for 5 minutes. No lie. I honestly don't know who was more annoying, Lana or Owens. They were each trying to speak over one another, and Owens has that piercing voice that just when he screams, you just want him to shut the fuck up. And Lana you just always want to shut the fuck up. So that is what we were stuck with 5 fucking minutes. 4 or 5 minutes. Finally, I can't believe I'm saying this. Lashley finally came to the ring just to end this nonsensical bullshit mic work and to get this nonsensical bullshit matchup over with. After 5 minutes, that's right, just 5 minutes, just like at Starrcade a night earlier, this match ends in a DQ as well. AOP hit the ring and they attack Owens. They then literally drag Owens up the ramp into the back, and Owens was never to be heard or seen from again. You thought it was going to lead to something badass backstage. That was going to be the big Rollins reveal, right? Rollins was going to end up being the orchestrator of the attack and dragging Owens to some remote place. It was going to be pretty badass. Instead, Owens after the show had to tweet out, "Guys, I escaped. Basically, I'm okay." Because WWE wasn't going to finish the story. Unfucking real. Now, we come back from another commercial, and we cannot get rid of Lashley and Lana. They're still in the ring at this point. Charlie Caruso is asking them what they know about the AOP attack on Owens earlier. Lashley says he knows nothing about AOP. And behind him, we see Rusev flying through the crowd. Lashley turns around, and he gets a Machka kick from Rusev. Rusev then taunts the detectives around the ring. That's right, there was actually detectives around the ring, 2 of them, because Lana filed another restraining order there in Nashville. But Rusev taunts the detectives, and then he runs away through the crowd like a wild teenager that just toilet papered the house of his high school science teacher. He's running away like he just did some dastardly teenage deed. And the detectives were like, "Oh, you little schmuckaroo, you. These damn hooligans. Get that TP off my tree." Lashley is obviously upset because the detectives were about as fucking useful as a grapefruit on a fucking winter's day. But, Lashley, when he walks away, he gives a little bit of a shoulder tap to one of the detectives, and sure enough, the detective arrests Lashley. For what? Because he was upset? Because he brushed shoulders with you? It just was unrealistic. Trust me, I've been arrested 17 times, and I promise you, each one of those times, it took a bit. If I just rubbed shoulders with oh my God, forget about it. I would have been arrested 47 times. And then Lana smacks the detective upside his dome piece and subsequently gets arrested herself out of frustration. So, at this point we're thinking, hey, at least they're finally off our TVs, right? We go to commercial, we come back, they're still on our TV. We come back from commercial and they're still on our TVs. Now they're being walked through the back and getting stuffed into the police cruiser. Finally being taken away. We think, at this point, it could be one of those Mountie Big Boss Man situations from SummerSlam back in the early 90s, where we keep going back to the Mountie inside his jail cell. I wouldn't take it away at this point from this company. I don't even know what to say, guys. The audience tells Vince time and time again over the past couple of months that this story is just not landing. And what does Vince do? He doesn't just double down. He triples down on it. And talk about just not listening to your audience. Because we're trying to tell you, you know what I mean? We're going to tell you when something works and when something doesn't. Like Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. We told you from night number 1. What was it? Survivor Series, the middle of that match. That works. You know what I mean? And the Lana and Rusev and Bobby Lashley thing just doesn't. But he doesn't want to. It's not clicking. So I just don't understand. Speaking of, there was a little face-to-face. A little one anyway. Maybe, hopefully, if we keep speaking up, we'll get more of this. But there was a face-to-face between Orton and McIntyre last night. McIntyre actually took on Tozawa. Drew warns Tozawa, I can fucking speak, warns Tozawa to leave several times or he's not responsible for the beating he'll get. Tozawa doesn't take McIntyre's advice and subsequently gets the aforementioned beating that Drew had warned him about. Now, when Drew was ready to end this thing, he did such with a Claymore kick that turned Tozawa inside out. Pretty badass. Those Claymore kicks usually are. Post-match, Drew takes the mic and calls out Randy Orton. Now, it takes a whole commercial break, but Randy Orton finally does come down to the ring, and he does go face-to-face with Drew McIntyre. And just like Survivor Series, I was into this thing again, man. I was into this, was it Survivor Series, guy? When did they go face-to-face? Because if they're both on Raw, then what the fuck is the, why would they be face-to-face? Now I'm forgetting when they actually, maybe it was just on a Monday Night Raw last week. I think that's what it was. It was just Raw, that was part of why Raw was actually fucking decent last week. The chemistry between Orton and McIntyre. I'm sorry, I just had one of those fucking moments of clarity there. That was not Survivor Series. That was Raw last week where we started to see something special between McIntyre and Orton. And channels like this anyway, I spoke in great detail about how much I love that, and maybe that's why we were getting a little more of it last night. Hey, maybe people are finally fucking tuning in. They have been, trust me. But maybe they're finally fucking realizing the amplified man knows what the fuck he's talking about. But anyway, Orton comes to the ring, goes face to face with Drew, and they go back and forth on the mic for several minutes. And unlike Lana and Owens, which is just cringeworthy and over the top annoying, these two back and forth on the mic for several minutes, I'm into what these two are brewing up. I just believe in their story, and I'm really loving the chemistry with these two, and everything they say, and the look in their fucking eyes. It's just old school for me. McIntyre wouldn't even say anything until Orton looked at me. Look at me! Look at my eyes! I loved it, and Orton's looking at him like that viper, like, excuse me, kid, who you talking to? Like that. I just love it. Before we can come to blows, the OC comes to the ring and surround the ring for Randy Orton, so McIntyre just takes off. So on one hand, I would have liked to have seen more with them two, but on the other hand, if they want to brew this out later on for a greater detailed time frame anyway, I'm in. So on one hand, I was like, oh, I want to see more, but on the other hand, if you're going to string it out for a more detailed time frame, I'm definitely in. Of course, the OC does in fact jump Randy Orton, but as right on cue, here comes Ricochet. He hits the ring. Didn't see that coming. Then Humberto evens up the numbers. Didn't see that coming. And then Rey Mysterio also hits the ring for extra help. Randy Orton at this point is kind of out of the ring. So it's just Humberto, Mysterio, and Ricochet looking out at three people. The OC. Gee, you had to have known a six-man schmaz fest was about to be in the works. We came back from commercial and it wasn't. So I was like, yes, they finally didn't just throw in the stereotypical six-man after six people were brawling. But later on, we would find out that we would be double punished. We didn't get it right after, but we were going to get that in the main event. Like anybody needed to see that shit. No. When we actually came back from commercial, it was Aleister Black defeating Tony Nese with the Black Mass. Not easy, though, as Nese brought a damn good fight to Black. Backstage, Charlie Caruso is interviewing Buddy Murphy, who warns Black, if he doesn't calm down, he'll be the one to calm him down. So I am interested in this Buddy Murphy, Aleister Black thing that they got brewing. It's two tough dudes that should bring velocity and physicality into their match. Two things I love. Moving on, Andrade is up next. He defeats Eric Young, and I had to do a double take on my TV screen because I couldn't believe Eric Young was actually on my TV screen. They were giving Eric Young TV time. There's a concept. Young, just like Nese on Aleister, a match previous, Young also brought the fight to Andrade. So that was really good watching Nese do that to Aleister, and it was really cool seeing Young do that to Andrade. But that hammerlock DDT was just too much for Young. And Andrade ended up the ultimate victor. Then the circus came to town. You guys ready for this? Hopefully my notes can do this justice. R-Truth storms down the ramp with the 24/7 title. Titus O'Neil is in hot pursuit, but for some reason, Titus absolutely totally bypasses Truth and probably wound up at the concession area in section 304. We still don't know where the fuck Titus O'Neil is. He just started running and never stopped. And we know when Titus O'Neil starts running and never stops, it leads to nothing good. You remember that Battle Royal? I believe that was also in Saudi Arabia just a year or two ago. Titus O'Neil was running full throttle and he literally just nosedived through the ring apron and like wound up in the middle of the, of the ring, underneath the ring. He just catapulted himself. I'm sorry, I just had another moment of clarity there, and that was Titus O'Neil nosediving through the fucking ring apron and landing underneath the ring halfway. That's funny. Corey Graves and I laughed for about a half an hour afterwards. And I'm sure hours after the event was over. Anyway, just watching O'Neil running is comical. But that's where the comedy ended. Because then, for some reason, NASCAR driver Michael Waltrip is unzipping his jacket and revealing a referee shirt. Fellow NASCAR driver Kyle Busch rolls up Truth for the victory and the 24/7 title. Look, It's true. I love my NASCAR. But just like WWE, I've watched over the last 10 years as they've both died a slow death. Or at least are dying that slow death. This was just a contributing factor to the inevitable. This is the type of shit that makes us roll our eyes so far in the back of our dome pieces, you think we're the Undertaker. And if that wasn't enough of a what the fuck is happening type of a moment for you, after a commercial, No Way Jose and the Street Profits are promoting WWE merchandise for Cyber Monday. Of course they are. It's the Street Profits. BC, the win over the OC by the Street Profits the night before at Starrcade, it's going to lead to something, BC. Don't worry. You're right. Selling more merchandise on WWEshop.com for Cyber Monday. Wow. It's a damn good thing the Street Profits defeated the OC at Starrcade. Rollins is leaving the arena up next. Charlie Caruso catches up with him before he's able to jump in his little rental. And Charlie asks why he didn't help Owens earlier. Rollins says he tried. And to anybody that doesn't believe his apology, he's damned if he does and he's damned if he don't. He's always going to be the bad guy, he says. Everyone's a critic. Not everyone can be a leader. I don't even know what the fuck that means. A leader can't be a fucking critic? A leader doesn't know what's good and what's bad, what's right and what's wrong? The fuck does that mean? That was horrible writing, whoever wrote that for Seth Rollins. I'm telling you right now. No Way Jose is up next in his never-ending and always super annoying conga line. That's right, he stepped away from selling and slinging merchandise on WWEshop.com for Cyber Monday. He actually wanted to wrestle a little bit. He takes on Eric Rowan. This match was 3 minutes long and it went 3 minutes too long. Rowan ends up defeating Jose and then he plays with his little cage. Now after a commercial, some blonde tries to interview Rowan, and you talk about just being bad at what you do. This blonde interviewer, maybe I believe her name's Sarah Schreiber, something. This girl just starts yelling at Eric Rowan. What's in the bag? What's in the bag, Eric? What's in the bag? Demanding that she knows. If I'm Rowan, I'm pile driving this mofo. But Rowan walks away, and I don't blame him. I'm over here thinking, who the fuck are you talking to me like that? Yelling at Rowan. What's in the bag? Cutting him off. What's in the bag? We want to know now. What's in the bag? You don't leave anywhere until you tell me. Who the fuck are you? So fucking odd, man. Start of the third hour was a handicap match. This was Charlotte versus Asuka and Kairi. This is where I need to take a fucking moment, all right? Because the notes won't do it justice. I need you to picture this. Charlotte, Kairi, and Asuka. This match is over in about 4 minutes, right? Charlotte's damn good. Damn good. But Asuka and Kairi together. 4 minutes, this thing's done. This thing went over 15 minutes. And I kid you not, it felt anyway. I will go back and research this, but it felt like Charlotte owned and demanded more than half that match. Now, you say, BC, it's got to tell a story. It's a handicap match. Charlotte's booked as the face. It has to be as such. And I am going to counter your comment with what happened to believability in realistic outcomes. Anybody with a brain in their dome piece would tell you that that's just not going to happen. But in this handicap match, Charlotte versus Asuka and Kairi and Charlotte, first of all, do not gel together. Kairi and Charlotte was messy and sloppy to the 10th degree. They just were not clicking. Asuka and Charlotte, on the other hand, they obviously provided the most entertaining moments. But in the end, this was all too unrealistic. Getting back to my main focal point here. Charlotte Flair nearly defeated the tag team title holders 75 times in this match. The finish ultimately saw Charlotte about to tap out Asuka in the figure 8, but Kairi, who by the way took 72 minutes of her own just to get to the top rope to deliver the insane elbow, But she finally did. She drops the elbow on Charlotte, and Kyrie picks up the W on Charlotte. It was just a warm-up for Kyrie because an hour later, she was losing to Becky in the dark match. 50-50 booking at its finest. So Kyrie and Asuka finally pull off the victory, but it took moving the stars, moving the planets, rearranging the solar system for them to finally get the victory. All to make Charlotte look immensely badass. Vince McMahon will stop at nothing to make Charlotte look like the fucking head honcho of that division for years to come. And I know she's damn good. Trust me. I know how good she is. But fuck, if the audience is not there with you, maybe, here's just a wild concept, maybe go a different direction. They'll put titles on motherfuckers and they'll never give them the rocket like Bayley. They will call them the face of the company like Becky, but the momentum and the booking and the creative is lackluster and just shit. But when it comes to Charlotte, they'll give them the world. Just like Roman, they're trying the experiment where maybe if we take titles away from them, maybe the crowd will like them more. But fans like me and critics and analysts like myself, we know exactly what's going on. We know that there's a place for them, but why does it have to be the top spots? Why does it have to be at the expense of Asuka and Kyrie? One female can make the tag title holders look like that. One female can make Asuka and Kyrie look like chumps. They barely walked away with that victory. You don't see an issue with that? But of course, there's always that one person. BC, at least they won. Relax. It's sports entertainment. The Viking dudes, they're not even worthy of the long title anymore. Their booking is... I honestly don't know if we should just take a fucking universal trip. All of us just take a trip to the fucking dentist. Even if you don't need work done. Maybe they can create a filling or a root canal. Go to the fucking dentist, or should we watch a Viking dudes match? I mean, that's how much it's meaningful to me anymore. It's not. The Viking dudes defeat Chestnut Charlie and Barry Buttocks. Enough said. Main event was, again, the six-man schmaz. Mysterio, Humberto, and Ricochet taking on the OC. Yes, this would have been a fun match if in the middle of Monday Night Raw. In our main event with no purpose or interest, just stop, will you? Styles wins with a Styles Clash off the second rope onto Ricochet. Post-match, Randy Orton RKO's AJ Styles out of nowhere, and we go off the air. I've seen Randy Orton RKO AJ Styles out of nowhere in the past. Why am I seeing this months later? Zero creativity. Nobody gives a fuck. They had no fucking finish for this. We'll throw in Humberto and Ricochet in the main event at the end. We'll slip in Randy Orton. He'll RKO Styles. Remember when I was talking earlier about what stars you have? I mean, they're now putting Humberto and Ricochet in main events now. And who's left? Seth Rollins and Owens. You got Randy Orton on the roster. I forgot about him because he's fucking irrelevant. He's been irrelevant for years. This thing with Drew McIntyre is the most epic I've seen Randy Orton in years. That's the truth. Orton could be one of their big main event stars, again, if they allow him to be. If they took away and stripped away the 50-50 booking and they actually gave him something creative and the booking was immaculate. But that's asking way too much out of this fucking company. That was 5 pages of notes. A lot of you guys didn't even watch last night. A lot of you guys tell me you just watch my reviews. I thank you for that, for entrusting me in being your number one source and your go-to for these reviews. I thank you. But I hope you understand just how hard of a job that was last night to put together 5 pages of notes on something so nonsensical, on something so bullshit as that type of a Monday Night Raw. That was actually the first time since I started this channel where that actually felt like work. Usually the work is in the uploading and the editing and making sure that you guys are getting the finished product at the quality and the standard that I have set for myself, that's usually where the work goes into. Talking about it's fun. Even doing my notes is kind of intriguing. That was work last night because that was just a pile of mess, a pile of shit, a pile of sloppiness that they all just brought back together into one pile of dog shit. Those are the nicest words I can give for that Monday Night Raw. I've kept you guys here for long enough. Maybe there'll be an impromptu video tomorrow, but definitely Thursday there'll be 2 videos. It'll be a double video upload day. It'll be AEW's review and in a separate video, NXT's review. There was a huge shift in the ratings this week, and we're going to talk all about it either tomorrow or Thursday in both of those videos. I thank you guys so much for trusting me to be your #1 source for these reviews. I hope I delivered in the most entertaining way possible. I'll see you guys later on in the week. Several videos still to come, a lot of content. Make sure you're subscribed and notified. The Amplified Man. Yow! I deserved a Starbucks coffee after this. These ones, they're done. It's time for another one. I deserve it. Come on, get it going. The Amplified Man. Check you later.